to create your Arctic landscape. Supplies you might want to use is, of course, paper, a pencil to draw all of your lines and objects in your drawing. And then once you're done with your pencil lines, maybe consider using a pen or a thin Sharpie or a marker, whatever you have at home is fine. And then colors for your sky, I'm going to use watercolors. But if you have markers at home or crayons, color pencils, whatever you want to use, that is fine. So to begin, I am going to start with my mountains. And it's kind of like a zigzag line. So all I'm going to do is kind of just start at the end. And now depending on how much sky you want, you can have your mountains down below, in the middle of your page. So I'm going to have them down here in the kind of below the middle line of my paper. And you can hold your paper any way you want to. So I'm just going to create like this zigzag line across my page until I get to the other side. The next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to add a shadow line to my mountains, and you can pick your left side of your mountains or your right side. So I'm going to do a shadow on my left side. So you're going to start at the peak of your mountain, which is the top of your mountain, and you're going to go all the way to the bottom. So you're simply just going to create like a curved line that connects, kind of like a J line. And you're going to do this to all of your mountain tops and peaks. And your line doesn't have to be super straight. It can be a little wiggly or curved. And that will show form of your mountains. Now, once inside all these little shadow areas that we created, you're going to create some lines. You can create zigzag lines, straight lines. You can color them in if you want to. You can do hash lines. You can do dots, which is pointillism. But you're just going to add some shadows in these lines. You can color this in with your pencil if you want to. I'm just going to use lines. So my next thing I'm going to add is I'm going to add a horizon line. So it's kind of like where the ground meets the sky, which is kind of like below my mountains. And it's not going to be perfectly straight. And I'm going to add some trees. So objects you can include is maybe trees, footprints, buildings. So you can have an igloo, you can have animals. All right, so you can do whatever you want to. This is your drawing. Just remember to keep it school appropriate. So for my trees, I'm just going to simply start with lines at first, and they're going to be of different sizes. I'm simply just going to create lines. I'm going to start at the top, and I'm just going to make small lines at the top and bigger lines as I come down towards the bottom, and these are going to start to take shape of pine trees or evergreen trees. And I'm going to repeat this a couple times. I'm going to go over my lines to build up that tree. Next, I'm going to add kind of like another line of snow through my drawing. And you know what? Maybe this is all I have for my Arctic landscape. I'm going to add one more tree. That's going to be in the foreground here. I'm going to actually add two. And next for my sky. So think about your color wheel or gradation of a rainbow of your colors. So you can pick warm colors, you can pick cool colors. Here is two examples that I did before. So I did one painting that I have warm colors, so I started with yellow and I went to purples, and then the other one that I did blues and I went to kind of like a light green. So, and your size, these are kind of tiny. You don't have to use your whole paper if you don't want to. This is kind of like smaller than a card, all right? This is kind of like half the size of a paper. So you don't have to use your whole paper to do artwork. It can be small, and that's okay. You can just add more details if it's smaller. So I'm going to do blues and purples in my sky. So I'm going to start with purples down below. No, I'm going to start with blues down below and then go to purples and reds up top. And I'm just simply going to start with going around my mountains very carefully, not to paint inside of them. Now there's also a trick with watercolors. If you have table salt around and if your watercolors are still kind of wet and you sprinkle some salt on, it will actually start to crystallize and look like snowflakes on your paper. There is my finished Arctic landscape, and my watercolor paper is decided to curl. So there you go, and here are my other two pieces of Arctic landscape. So I hope you enjoyed this project, and I can't wait to see what your artwork looks like.